is Bill Moseley, and make sure you check out withoutyourhead.com.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by Michael Paszt, the director of Neal and the Coffin, The Fall and Rise of Vampiro. It's very good to have you here.
Hey, thank you.
Yes. And Vampiro himself, Ian Hodgkinson. How are you guys doing?
I'm pretty impressed that you got my last name right, so we're off to a good start.
All right, very good. I try to be as professional as possible here.
Well, good, because I probably won't.
Yeah, you might not remember this, but I did interview years ago on my wrestling podcast, and it was you were building up a match with Chaos, and it was at the XPW reunion, and you guys were kind of in character fighting on the show. It was actually pretty fun. It was a long time ago. So.
With Joey?
Yeah.
I kind of remember that, man. I fucking love Joey, man. Joey's an awesome guy, bro. But fuck him. It's my movie.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. So actually, whose idea was it to do the documentary? Did Michael come to you, or was it your idea?
No, it was 100% Michael. Yeah, 100% Michael.
So yeah, we've known each other for on and off for years, and then I lived in Mexico. I love Lucha Libre. I became a reporter for Super Luchas magazine. Ian and I ended up reconnecting like 15, 16 years later. We bumped into each other in an airport, and he told me what was going on in his life, and I was like, it was crazy. Like he was commuting from Thunder Bay, Ontario, to Mexico City, then going to Los Angeles to do a Lucha Underground, and then he had to be back on Sunday night, to basically take his daughter to school in the morning because he's a single dad. And I'm like, we all complain about commuting. I complain about taking the subway, and he's doing this. He's flying multiple countries and commuting, and it was one thing led to another, and we're like, this is a story. This is amazing. Just the levels like that people go through to make things work. And his love for his daughter was there so much. It was like, and I knew him years ago, and his love for Dasha was first, like, front and center from day one. And I see him 17 years later, and nothing has changed. And there's a story here, and there's another side to him that I think needs to be told.
So when you started with the idea for the documentary, that was like what you wanted to explore was Ian's relationship with his daughter?
Yeah, for me that was the core of it. I love wrestling, man. I love all his stuff with WCW and Mexico and everything. I love all that. But for me, like that's kind of like the broad strokes of everything. For me, it's him and Dasha, right? And that was the key,
And were you on board right away, Ian, with the idea of doing a documentary?
Yeah. Yes, 100%. There was just something about Michael that I trusted right off the bat, and we became family instantly. So yeah, of course. I mean, I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have done it with somebody else, to be honest with you. I've tried a few times, and I didn't click with anyone. With Michael, I clicked, and that told me that this was it. Yeah.
How about Dasha? Was this something she wanted to do right away?
I don't think so. It was a pain in the ass, no, Mike?
I should warm up to it, yeah. But that's understandable. But once we got going, and it was great, because I mean, this is a person that it's not involved. It's not in a spotlight at all. But she put herself out there, and it was really awesome. Definitely, she put herself out there. Yeah,
you mentioned like the travel, and you mentioned in the documentary that you've been clean for 11 years. How is the travel for you? Just being in pain and being on a plane, all the time, long flights.
It's very strange because of the anxiety and the panic attacks and all that. Being on the plane was the only time I could sleep without medication. Yeah, I was safe. I was in a little compact compartment. I was very fortunate that I got to fly business class, for example, and from Canada to LA, they have the pods. So I was in like my own little room, and I felt safe. I loved it. I needed it. But the pain was excruciating. The amount of pain pills I would have to take just to get onto the plane. I think I was going through quite a big number weekly, just to deal with it. It was tough. It was tough. It was tough.
Is that hard? I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was just wondering if that's hard to even take pain pills and stay clean from doing, overdoing with pain pills or taking anything else. I
mean, it got to the point I was angry that I had to take pain pills. You know what I mean? I loved the euphoria. I mean, how could you not? But I saw what it was doing to me, because I look back on my career. I was an athletic guy. I was very, very strong. I was very competitive in a lot of sports. And then I turned into this water balloon because of the amount of drugs and being sick. And I was 340 pounds, dude. I was dying. I was going to drop dead from a heart attack at any second. I was disgusted with my quality of life. But at the same time, because of the mental health, I didn't know what was going on. And nobody was telling me. So I was just there, waiting to die.
Yeah. Just a similar thing. I was over 300 pounds in 2018. I'm down to like 190 at the moment, almost half my body weight. And I stopped pain pills and drinking and everything. But it also helps your mental well-being, I think, when we get off a lot of things.
Of course, dude.
Not just your physical, obviously.
It's not just you. It's the way people see you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the victim and you're this mental health patient, you're just fucking yourself up with all these bad things, how do you think people see you? Once you start to make those changes and you say, well, people look at me different. No, you're different. They're the same. Now that you just fit in better because you're not being this pillhead, right? So that's another thing too. You stop pointing fingers and you become accountable. So it's a big deal when you get off that shit. And I congratulate you on that.
Thank you. And you as well.
Yeah.
Do you think it would have been possible to be to have the wrestling career you had and the schedule and be totally clean?
Do
you think you could have been clean like during your prime and still had the schedule you had?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I was wrestling 6-7 times a day, 7 days a week in different parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Flying here, flying there, no sleep, shitty food. Got to be up. You got to be on. You got to meet people. You got to go in the ring. You take those bumps. You get back to the hotel. You're in Japan. Next day you're in Mexico. Then you're in Los Angeles. Then you go back to Germany. Then to Japan. Then to Hawaii. It's like, what the fuck? No. You got to be careful what you ask for. You got to understand that it's a moment in time that's going to last 6, 7, 8 months. Mine lasted 20 years, so I was lucky. But you're going to abuse yourself. I mean, if you're in a smash-up derby car and you're famous because you're a smash-up derby car, how many times can you smash up that car?
Right. Yeah. So part of the documentary is, obviously big parts of your relationship with your daughter. And also a lot of it, I think, is your struggle with, like, your relationship with wrestling itself. Like, it's like you love it on some level, but there's also a lot about that you hate wrestling. So what is, like, obviously there's money and fame and everything, but what would you say really is, like, the biggest draw for you for wrestling?
When it ends. Yeah. I love wrestling. I love the pro wrestling industry. Mm-hmm. I absolutely adore the fans. I adore the interaction. But I don't like the business of pro wrestling. I think I've learned how to distinguish that. I don't like the corruption, the backstabbing, the politics, the games, the lying. That really ruins you as a person. You have to be around that, right? Mm-hmm. But I do love the fans and that moment. That's what kept me in the business for 39 years, right? Not the other stuff. It's so infantile and so disgusting. It's too bad because there are a lot of young men and women who are getting into the wrestling industry. There's a lot of fans who are asking people to watch this movie. Mm-hmm. It's a blessing to be in the wrestling industry. It's too bad that it's run by people who shouldn't be there.
Interesting. Michael, what was that like to be filming, behind the scenes in Mexico? Because, a lot of the luchadors probably don't want to be seen without their mask or, just kind of a secretive thing.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's a great question. First and foremost, I'm a fan. So when I was at Triple Mania, I was fortunate to go to a couple of them, filming over 3 years. But it was really cool because it was just two of us filming. It was just two of us. It was myself and the producer / cameraman, right? And we had the ability to be like a fly on the wall. So we would follow Ian. Wherever we followed Ian, there would be the drop, because the layers of what he has to do is like he's got so many jobs, so many different hats he's wearing. So when you get into an environment like Triple Mania 25, the biggest show in the history of the company, it was absolutely insane. And then we get dropped in there with the camera, like the two of us. And we were was fortunate enough that AAA opened the doors and let us film, and he said, you guys can film anything. Ian's running the show, you can do that, just don't film the guys with their masks off. And of course that's sacred, and we're like, no, of course we would. So I'm very grateful that they gave us that trust to be able to film everything, because they knew we were going to edit something afterwards. We were going to put something together. So it was really cool. And man, when a thing like that, I got, my side of it is, as a fan going, that we're filming there, it's a snake pit, man. It's a snake pit with all those wrestlers. You got I don't know how many guys were there, 120 or whatever it was, guys. And they all want to be number one, and they're all alpha, and the women are all alpha. And if you blink wrong, man, they'll eat you alive when you're there with the camera. So you got to give them respect. You got to know when to pull back and film, and there was times where so Ian, he looked out for us and things like that, and it was pretty cool. It was really awesome to be. It was super intense, and as I didn't have a lot of time to actually stop back and actually enjoy it as a fan until after we were finished filming, right? Because it was what do you call it? Organized chaos.
Yeah. What I want to add to that is this is the first time I just listening to you, Michael, what you said. This was the first time that anybody was backstage at a live show with the guy who runs the show without any protection, meaning, please don't film this, don't do this, watch. You know what I mean? It was like, yo, motherfucker, there might be only two of you filming, but there's only one of us running the show. So we're in the same boat. So just put the camera on and stand back, because I'm running the show. I don't have assistants. There's nobody in there. I did every fucking thing in 2 languages.
Yeah,
that's the time that you can see that. That's if you pay attention to those details, all those holy fuck moments, none of that's scripted. That's the way a show goes. It just happens.
Yeah. And that's something I've not really seen in another documentary, like you said, is like the producer, the guy actually running the wrestling show back there with the headset and yelling at people, hurry up and all these things. And and I know I've watched wrestling my whole life and seen other documentaries, but it's not something I've seen a lot of before.
Nobody has. And I thought about it. I talked to Michael about it, and I said, we're going to expose some things here. We're not exposing anything that's bad. It's just the first time that a lot of people are going to see this. And I was anxious to do that more so than he was, because it's like that's enough bullshit. You know what I mean? If you're demanding things from people, show them why you're demanding it. Let them see the truth. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And all these guys in the wrestling business, it's all about me, 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 me. So I didn't want to be the camera guy and, you got to pay attention to me and look how good I am. This is what it is. You know what I mean? So that was a something that Michael did very well. It wasn't, oh my God, Vampiro is so talented, he can do all these things. It was, holy fuck, this is a mess. You understand the difference? Mm-hmm. That's something that there was just this chemistry between him and I that I understood that he understood that. So I was very comfortable with just going and not giving any instruction. Just do what you got to do, dude. Yeah. I think that's the right way to say that on my part. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting contrast, kind of like the chaos of your life over all these decades, and then in this moment, you're like the guy that's controlling everything. So it's like you have control in this area of your life.
You just said something really interesting. The chaos of my life. I don't think I would have been able to handle the chaos of my life if I wasn't in such a chaotic scenario for the last 4 decades. Yeah, because I don't see it as chaotic. I see it as that's easy.
Right.
My life is easy.
When you're living it, yeah, exactly. How did you end up on that side of the wrestling world? Running the show, the creative side.
The same as Michael, ended up as going from a fan to where he's at. I was a fan, and I did my time. But when you do your time, it's like Green Day. Green Day was a 3-piece band that played 3 chords. Then they got another guitar player, just like Nirvana, so the main guy can play more solos. So the music evolved. Then he didn't want to play 3 chords anymore. He wanted to get into another band that had more complex music, so he had a side project. My point is, when you're a creative guy, I mean, for 30 years, I had my entrance. I had people screaming. I had the matches. I did the big moments. So to challenge myself creatively, you've got to learn the other side. Agenting, putting together matches, helping younger talent, producing, storytelling, directing. It just evolves. And then once you get there, you don't want to go back in the ring because this is more fun. Because in the ring, I'm worried about Vampiro. When I'm producing, directing, I'm worried about the show. So I'm involved in everything. So ego-wise, it's much more fulfilling to do things on the other side of the camera.
Yeah.
You agree, Mike?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Just about music, I like the music in the movie, the score, and I thought it was interesting, one of the songs at the end, it was like a sedated version of I Want to Be Sedated.
Ask him.
Michael, what was the thought process in, what music you used?
I think that, with the process of music and all that, it's just a reflection of Ian. And what he likes, what I like too, but he is, he loves Ramones, Sex Pistols, all of that sort of stuff. So it's just kind of was a natural sort of thing to put those moments in there. Even the opening song was a very important choice for us to put it in there. Whereas we had you've got all this chaos happening, and then the opening song. The little one and talking about it's a reflection on his daughter. So we're taking you into we're letting you know that this isn't going to be a traditional wrestling documentary. We opened up that way, but now we're going to show you that there's something else is different. And that was sort of the idea behind it. And I'm glad that you like the music and all that. Definitely. Thank you.
And what you just said there, I think, it makes the documentary appealing to a broader audience. You don't have to be a wrestling fan to be into this, because it's really about the relationship of a father and his daughter.
When you see me and you see the way I look and anything about my career and the affiliations with bands like Black Flag, like Teenage Head, like Rancid, like the Ramones, like ICP, the Misfits, you get an idea that this is a guy who likes very loud, abrasive, aggressive, guitar-driven rock and roll. To hear those songs, even when because I didn't know anything until I saw it the first time with Michael at a film festival. When I heard that, I just started to cry. It broke my heart because I knew what was going on, but it's kind of like you didn't get this rock and roll video. You got a man, and that song tells you what you're going to see. It just sets it up right. So grateful that he didn't put hard rock in there. I'm just so grateful, because that's what you would expect. And this movie is not what you expect. So yeah.
And then the cool thing is that the end credits. I don't know if you caught that or not. With the band Gary Goalies. That's Ian playing in the band. Oh,
I didn't actually know that part. But yeah.
The end song. That's and you see the up there. He's playing as part of the band. He toured with the guys.
That's very cool. Yeah. And when I mentioned you were coming on, my friend Michael Treblecock, he mentioned that he does.
What's the matter with him?
I know. I think it's a very unfortunate last name. Maybe he needs to get that looked at. I don't know, but
that'd be fucked. Imagine going up with a, oh my god.
You could change it, But anyway, he said that he did the guitar on the cover of Teenage Head's picture.
I took a pill for it. I don't know.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Mike, you know Mike, eh? Mike's awesome. Yeah, though the song that we ended up doing was
I want to see Mr. Troublecock. Put him on film.
It was Teenage Head. So Ian can tell you a little about more than I know about Teenage Head, but he was really influenced by Teenage Head, and that became an important song for us to record. And we wanted to do it acoustically, like the opening song, and we did the cover with that. And Emily Raquel sang on it, and he did a great job turning it into that cover.
Yeah, it was great stuff. So you mentioned the festivals. Did you get a chance to see the movie at festivals with an audience?
Oh yeah, I mean we were there at the premiere at Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas. It was incredible. It was also pretty scary too, because Ian had a lot of trust. Gave me. They had a lot of trust in me, and he didn't want to see the cut, didn't want to see the edit, didn't want to see anything. So here we are in Austin, Texas, Fantastic Fest, sold out screening, and the dude hasn't even seen the film yet. And I know I've got some things in there. I know I've got his wedding footage. I've got other things that he doesn't even know that I found, going down the rabbit hole, right? Mm-hmm. Put it in there, and, he's like, it was just funny. I was just nervous, and I was like, oh man, any minute he's going to turn around and just punch me during the screening or something like that, right? But it was cool because he gave me that trust, and it was a great moment for us to share it together.
You kind of talked about Ian, but what was it like to watch it for the first time, especially with an audience there? Because you're used to being in front of, an audience, but this is a totally different thing than being Vampiro and wrestling in front of an audience.
It was intimidating. It was intimidating because I don't get to go back through the curtain into the dressing room and into a car and drive away. When the lights go on, I'm going to be sitting right there, and everybody's going to turn around and look at me and ask me questions. It was scary. It was very scary. I paid attention to the reactions of people because I knew the story. That's why I lived the story. But I wanted to see people's reactions. And when we went into the screening, there were so many people. They put it in two screenings, two theaters, salons at the same time because there was just too many people. So we were fucking panicking. I was like, well, what if people like this movie? You know what I mean? Because this has never happened before. There's just so many people to see it. We got a standing ovation. It was fantastic. It was a beautiful moment. I don't think I'll ever forget that one. Yeah.
What's your relationship with Dasha like now? And how do you think doing the documentary either helped or hurt that?
I think it helped immensely. My daughter doesn't know anything about Vampiro. My daughter doesn't know about my sickness, about my injuries. I wouldn't let her go to matches. I didn't talk about being Vampiro. She knew as she was getting older, she saw Lucha Underground on Netflix and she started reading on Google and she was like, Dad, how come everywhere we go, there's always people that go crazy and they want your picture? And she understood I was a wrestler, but she didn't know what is a Vampiro. So that was the first time for her to see a lot of things. I believe it helped us understand how to communicate better. Yeah, for sure.
So the movie comes out September 4th, I believe, at select theaters, and then on video on demand and digital on the 8th. How has the world currently? How has that affected how the movie's going to be seen?
I mean, it's difficult everywhere right now. Theatrically, theaters, all that sort of stuff. It's difficult, but I think that digital wise, it's never been better. People, even though we have the lockdown, all that sort of stuff, that people still need to be entertained. People still need content. So I think, we're in a better place than ever, Also, September 22nd, we've got the Blu-ray coming out.
Oh, nice.
And I think you'll really dig it because we've got another we got an hour of extras that are in there that didn't make the cut. You know, extended interviews with Karrion Kross and, you know, Chavo Guerrero, and some neat little things that we filmed with Vamp and all. That was awesome. So we put it in the Blu-ray. So I think that as a fan, I think you'll really dig it.
Yeah, and timing wise, that really worked out with Kevin Kross, now Karrion Kross. You know, because he's pretty established name now in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of guys now that are all kind of, you know, moved over there, right? So it's good for them.
Yeah. You know, it was, I really enjoyed it. I figured I would, but I didn't know exactly, you know, what was going to be really about. But it was great to see the other side of you, Ian, and seeing the stuff with your daughter, and seeing I don't know what was going on with Jeff Jarrett, but that was fun to watch, or weird to watch. I don't know if fun is the right word, but I really thought him and Kross were going to come to blows at one point. But
yeah, it's a good thing for Jeff that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because when he's calling him out and calling him, you know, I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know a lot about how tough he is, but Kross is a pretty big guy and a lot younger, and I was like, I don't know if that's the smartest thing to be doing.
That happens 6 or 7 times a night.
Right.
Every night. That's normal. That's no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time to do the show.
Oh, thank you, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate your everything, you know, just spreading the word, and it's very kind of you to be so positive on the movie. Thank you.
Yeah. And I hope you're doing well and continue success on the movie and just, you know, in life in general.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing awesome, man. And
okay.
yeah,
you look good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Neal.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.